No doubt Donald Trump addresses a polarized nation tonight, and there are already signs of dramatic polarization and tension in who is heading to the speech inside the House. Both sides are featuring guests to make different kinds of points. Trump bringing victims' families to draw attention to crime committed by undocumented immigrants, also bringing a child named Trump who was bullied for his name. Speaker Pelosi bringing the new president of Planned Parenthood. Other Democrats bringing an undocumented woman who recently worked at Trump's golf course. And at least 5 transgender service members are there, a rebuke from Democrats to Trump's executive ban. Meanwhile, freshman star AOC doubling down on confrontational politics by bringing the very activists who stepped to Jeff Flake over the Kavanaugh battle.
It says well-behaved women rarely make history.
Well-behaved women rarely make history.
That's right.
Thank you for not being a well-behaved woman.
And you either. Thank you. Hey, cheers. Salud.
I'm joined now by Congressman Earl Blumenaur, who says he is boycotting Trump's speech tonight. The second year in a row he has done so, announcing in a statement that he will skip a speech that he expects to be filled with little more than, quote, lies, deception, and divisiveness. And back along for the ride, Jason Johnson, who may have a question for the congressman. Let me start here, sir. A lot of people agree with and understand what you're doing. What do you say to critics who argue, well, why not go in there one night a year at least and be in the same room and hear each other out, or in this case, you hearing him?
I think it's important not to dignify what should be a very important event for our nation. I've been to 20 State of the Union speeches, Republican and Democrat alike, whether I agreed or disagreed, but they accorded the respect for the office, dignity, and at least attempted to bring this country together. Donald Trump has not done that at all. We've just concluded a 6-week shutdown that is essentially a temper tantrum on his part, inflicting damage on the country and 800,000 federal employees. He has been in a very public argument with his own security officials, disputing what they said on television and in transcripts. The man is untethered from the truth, and I think this ritual that he's a part of, regardless of what's on the teleprompter, he has demeaned the presidency, and I'm not going to dignify it with my presence.
What would you like to see, given the Constitution's statement that there is a State of the Union, although it need not be given in person? Would you think it would be fitting if the entire hall was effectively empty and he had to address an empty hall if you convinced enough of your colleagues to go along with you?
Well, it would be, I think, fitting. I mean, look at the manufactured crisis. If he was being honest, he would admit that the crisis at the border is one that he created, that we could just treat people according to the law, not separating families. If the border is more secure today than it has been in decades. The notion that he's having this assault on the environment, that he picks fights that we don't need to have. And I personally welcome someday him coming clean with the American public, earning our trust, and I'll be happy to show up if he comes clean with the American public.
My colleague, Jason Johnson, has a question.
Congressman, I have a question. So clearly you've been an advocate for marijuana legalization. That's something you've been pushing through. But the guest that you picked tonight to go in your place is about sort of feeding the hungry. Why did you make that selection for somebody to come in and sit in for you and be at the speech that you don't want to see?
Well, it is what the World Relief Kitchen has done, and my guest, Nate Mook, they've provided 5 million meals for people in the United States and around the world that are hungry. It illustrates the need that we have. In fact, they gave thousands and thousands of meals to furloughed federal employees who Trump locked out and denied a paycheck. I thought this symbolized the type of America that I believe in and I think is representative of what most of my constituents believe in. It's a powerful symbol for what's right about America, not the division and discord.
Well, it's interesting to get your perspective, particularly given the fact that you've attended, as you mentioned, the States of the Union by presidents in both parties, and that a lot of Americans like you are wondering, how do you speak out and protest against some of what this president's done? On the flip side, we heard earlier tonight from a former colleague of yours, a Republican congressman, big supporter of the president. So getting a lot of different views about what is clearly a polarized address. Congressman Blumenaur, thanks for joining me, Jason Johnson, as well.
Thank you. Thank you.
My pleasure.